What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Third and Longhorn. We are coming to you live from the bubble from Pro Day, and we've got a special guest, Mr. Jaydon Blue. Jaydon, welcome back.
Mr. Fast Man, Mr. 4-2 man.
We'll talk about that in a second. How'd you feel about today, Jaydon?
I feel good. I finally got healthy, and I just got a chance to showcase what I can do, what I expected. So, I think I had a good day overall. So I feel good about it.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, let's just jump into it because I gotta know. Combine, you run one thing. Pro Day, you run another. That's not new news. We expect that. Most guys run a little bit faster at the Pro Day than they ran at the Combine.
Just a tad bit.
You're more familiar with this space. I can't imagine how many times you've been in here. But jumping down to a mid 4.2, I seen most scouts had 4.25. Some had 4.28 on the other one.
Wow.
Like, bro, what is going on?
Yeah. So, earlier in training, I was working. I was healthy, and I was getting clocked at 4.2 all training. But I kind of felt like a little tightness by my groin, and it was super tight. I felt the knot, and I didn't think nothing of it because I had groin tightness before. So I thought it was just tightness, and I could stretch and work my way through it. But it continued to bother me. I was still running on it, and I let the trainers know, and they was like, "We should get it checked." And I went and got an ultrasound, and they told me that it was a bad strain, a grade 2 strain, and they said that based off of how I did treatment and everything, that I'll be able to run based off the pain tolerance. And in my head I was thinking, like, would it be safe to run or would it not? But I couldn't do anything laterally, so I cut out all the shuttle drills, the drills and routes. So my thing was I wanted to run because it's a big stage, but I didn't know the risk of it. I didn't know if I could make it worse. They didn't tell me that it could get worse. But
What was your official time at Combine?
4.38.
With a grade 2 strain?
With a grade 2. I was just about to say.
That's bad.
The fact you broke a 4.3.
It's not what I wanted. I still thought that I could run a 4.2 with the strain because that's how fast I thought I was. Well, I am, but I was working out, getting ready for the 40 at the Combine, and it didn't feel right. I couldn't push off like I wanted, couldn't really open up. So I ran, and I could tell when I ran, I didn't run as good as I thought. The first time I ran, they came back, they told me 4.4. I was like, I got disappointed right away, and I ran again. My second was always faster, and it said 4.38, and it still went up to standard. So when I got back home, I was upset for like a week at my time, and I went back to see my physician, and I got an MRI, and they had determined that it was a tear. So first thing that came to my head was like, man, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have ran. I would have just waited to Pro Day to really show what I can do. But I worked hard the last 2 weeks on the treatment, and it started feeling back like 100% last week, and I trained, and I felt like that I could run a 4.2 like I did. And
you were sliding today.
You have such a unique kind of freaky skill set, if you will. I know there are a lot of teams that feel like you could be perfectly compatible with their system. What teams have showed a little interest for you in this process so far?
I've talked to really all 32 teams, but I've met with the 49ers plenty, met with the Texans, met with Baltimore, Packers, met with the Patriots, I met with the Bills. I met with a whole lot of teams. Got to fly to Philly next week with the Eagles. So, it's a lot of teams that think that I could fit their offense, and I think the same. So, I'm just enjoying this process, and I'm just ready to see where I'm gonna be next year. Next week.
I tell you what, this is why they're all raving over you, Blue. Just because I play linebacker, so I'm telling you, when you line up at the running back position, I don't care if you're handing the ball off or it's third down and it's a screen or it's getting you in space with a linebacker. That's a mismatch all day. I don't care how athletic that linebacker is, you're gonna beat him every time. So tell me about just attention to detail, running routes, because everybody wants to see the other route runs. We got a lot of receivers out here, but when you line up at receiver, at running back, you're running routes just as good as them. And all the scouts, I'm just telling you, all the scouts, like, they're looking like, dang, just your ability to catch and get out of breaks, man, that's pretty impressive. Yeah,
so when I grew up, I started playing running back, of course. Then once I got towards the high school, started playing 7-on-7, and I was one of the probably the top 7-on-7 players in the country because I was a natural receiver.
Yeah.
What's that? Fast Houston, right?
Yeah, Fast Houston. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was cooking the best DBs, the top DBs that's probably rated high in this draft. I mean, I was, going against them in 7-on-7, and it was easy for me. So, once I got to the college level, I kind of, like when I trained with my coach, I didn't train on running back or drills and nothing like running back drills. I did all receiver stuff because
That's why. Okay.
I knew the running back stuff was natural for me, and I wanted to, get better at the receiving stuff. So I knew that I was going to have to play receiver in order for me to be the guy that I wanted to be in the league. So I knew that now the league has changed. You got to be, a receiving back also. Those are the best backs. So, Coach Choice helped me a lot with that also because I had it, before I got to Texas. But, once I got there, he really perfected. He made sure that I was detailed. He stayed on me. Whether if my route was supposed to be 5 and I cut it to 4.5 or 4 yards, and, he'll tell me and let me know. So I give a lot of credit to him and Coach Sark and making sure that I was detailed in my routes. And, I hold myself to a high standard. So whenever I, maybe I don't run the route right, I'll go back and watch it and see what I could have did differently or what did I do right. So, no, it's just me, having that natural ability, but a lot of it, just I worked at it. So, I got better at it over the past few years. And
we can tell, bro.
Yeah.
We can tell, bro.
Absolutely. Well, Jaydon, everybody thinks the draft process starts right when the season ends, but it really starts in the off season. Then you go into training camp, you play out the season, then you get the training, you go into the combine, and then you got the pro day. Now that all the business has been handled, all the on-field work has been handled, the last piece is like the pitch to these NFL teams. That's the bow on top. So asking you, and kind of give us an insight to what these team meetings have been looking like. What type of player are teams expecting to get from you? How are you pitching yourself to these teams?
So, most of the teams when I started, a lot of the teams with me, it wasn't mainly about football. Some of them didn't even talk about football because they knew what I can do on the field. And a lot of it was just, trying to get to know who I am and see what kind of person I am. Told them my life story, how I grew up. Told them about, this season. I think I tell people a lot, in my opinion, this season was probably the funnest season to me. And it was the one I think I liked the most because of not how I played, but how I came out at the end. I went through a lot of adversity this year. That people didn't know about. People probably know about the high ankle sprain or whatever. Michigan, because it happened that game. I missed one game. I didn't want to, but I missed one game, came back. It was still bothering. I wasn't 100% till maybe the middle end of the year. Wow. And then Arkansas, with the injury, I was already going through that. Then started putting the ball on the ground like I don't want to. That kind of messed my mental up a little bit. But like I said, Coach Choice was there for me. And he came and sat me down and was like, he'd never beat me down. Coach Choice is always that coach that I can go to whenever I'm going through something. And for me, it was big because whenever I was going through them times during the season, he sat me down almost, I think, the end of the regular season and said, Blue, he said, you have a chance to get out of here this year if you finish this thing off the right way. And I looked back at myself and saw how I was practicing. It wasn't the right way. If I was the older guy in the room, I wasn't practicing right, so the young guys weren't practicing right. We weren't playing how we supposed to. So, I brought the young guys up, and I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, this is what I need to do differently in order to get here. And changed my practice habits, started finishing better. The guys in my room started finishing better. And the good thing is with them, those like Trey, JG, they was all mature. Said even though he was hurt, they stayed on me, and I took advice from them also because when I wasn't doing the things I wasn't doing right that they were, I took from them. And then the Arkansas, the AC joint hit me, and I didn't think that it was probably one of the worst injuries I had. It was bad. I had a grade 2 separation. I didn't know if I could play. It was that bad at first, but I was like, man, it's getting down to the nitty gritty, and I know this team need me in order for us to go where we want. So I sucked it up. It was bad. I got an MR. They said it's pretty bad. So I was like, I'm not sitting out. Got ejected. Got an injection. Played with a pad. It was hurting, but I was like, I can't let the guys in this room down because they fought through injuries also. So I can't be the older guy in the room to let anybody down. And like I said, I took Coach Choice's advice, changed the way I practice, and scored 4 touchdowns in the postseason and had 500, 600 yards rushing. So, that's why this season was probably one of my favorite because of how I came out on the end of it. When people started doubting me when I started putting the ball on the ground. And I just looked at that as it was a lesson learned for me because I knew, I have a very high confidence level, so I knew if I don't sit the ball on the ground, nobody could stop me.
Yep.
It showed toward the end of the year. If I take care of the ball, then it's almost impossible to stop me. So, you know, that's what I took from this year.
Well, Jaydon, we appreciate you coming through, man. We know you got places to be. It's a big day for you, so thanks for stopping in. We're all really excited to watch what
Can't wait to see where you go, man. Let me tell you, it's Houston Texans. We would not mind it.
Hey,
we would not mind it. We would not mind it.